The younger generation needs schooling. I'm here to do that. So we thought we'd talk to a couple of young conservatives to prove they actually do exist. I'm going to start over here because I'm going to get Nishann Miller wrong.
You got it right.
I got it right.
Yes, sir.
You're External Affairs Director for Larimer County GOP.
External Vice Chair.
So you get to talk to all 5 Republicans up there. That's good.
Yeah. It seems pretty dinky, but we've actually got quite a force. So.
All right. And from the Millennial Policy Center, old friend Jimmy Sengenberger. Good to have you.
Good to be here, John. Thank you.
Yeah. If I've never seen anybody try to be Alex P. Keaton more than you.
You know, it's true.
It's true.
I can't deny it.
It's really.
I never watched the show, but I know about him. Yeah.
Really?
Yeah. It was a little before my time.
Yeah. Screw you too. All right. Speaking of which, the young. I occasionally go to Republican events, and even at my crippled old age, I'm still the youngest person there. All right, so I think the Republicans do not reach into young people's lives very well. Now, mind you, in Colorado, Democrats are losing members to unaffiliated at a rapid rate, but I get a sense that younger people are much more progressive-minded, particularly in this state, and wouldn't be walking around with little flag lapels all the time. So let me start here.
Sure.
Is my image right that the Republican Party is not reaching out to young people effectively?
I would completely agree with that. I believe that the Republican Party understands that they need us, but they don't know how to interact with us. They don't recognize and or have an open mind to the society that we grew up in.
Oh my God, you entitled little thing. I don't want to talk to you anymore. Let's go over here. Tell me. You don't understand my life.
You don't.
Why can't we reach young people?
Well, I think part of the problem is that there's a lack of understanding in a sense of the
from who,
social
the old
media.
People?
Yeah, from the old people.
All right,
like
I've had it with you. I'm going to go back over here.
No. So I'll put it this way. Ocasio-Cortez, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, has certainly taken social media by storm, but there's something about the way in which a lot of conservatives, particularly older conservatives, but also some millennial conservatives and what I think is more of like a conservative bubble, the way in which they're approaching her, and that is attacking her in very personal ways, mocking her intelligence, mocking different things that she's done that actually appeal to the average, even conservative millennial. So I've gotten some astounding comments from especially millennial conservative women and others who really find some relational connection to her. And I think that there's a disconnect in how she's being treated by a lot of conservatives, and that's an example of how there's just not this understanding of how to appeal to millennials.
Because, the left never attacks people on a personal level.
It's done differently. Actually, one example, they mock and malign President Trump. We see that quite a bit. We saw that in 2016. We continue to see that today. But there's not this sense from, I would guess you, certainly not for me, that we are with President Trump in a personal way like he's one of us. But Ocasio-Cortez, 29-year-old, exemplary of the diversity among the millennial generation, she really emphasizes that point that she's one of us as opposed to just being someone who's fighting for us.
Go back to what it is we don't know, we geezers. What is it that we geezers don't know that seems to repel you from getting into politics?
I think the biggest thing is, going back to what Jimmy said, is we want to make sure that we have a community. And from my personal experience, I grew up in an outspoken conservative Christian home, and I was honest to say that I didn't start getting involved in the GOP until February of last year, just a bit after I graduated college. I felt as if, even though I thought I belonged on the right side, it didn't feel welcoming to develop and explore my beliefs. Instead, it was more of a virtue cram. This is what we believe. This is neglected. Whereas millennials, I think, I want to be able to belong, but I also want to be able to feel like I'm being listened to. I want to feel as if what I have to say is important, even if it's not completely on the right side. Help me. I think that's the biggest thing. And even if we don't have the right direction, for our experienced generations to guide us.
But the left does that better than the right? That the left will listen to you whiny little millennials better than we will?
I think what's positive for them, what they're doing well, is identity politics, right? I am this race, I am this gender, I date these people. They are assimilating that community based off of your personal identity, whereas conservatives, it should be about the principles, right? It should be, this is what freedom is. We believe in respecting the individual, and from that we can collectively pursue the American dream as our founding fathers experienced.
I think about this, and it might be wishful hope, but the slicing of America that identity politics does, you're this and you're that, and it has worked for them beautifully, because then they can advertise to each one, they can make each one feel belong.
Right.
But sooner or later, you keep splitting that, and it starts folding in on itself. That, no, this one is more liked as a victim group than that one. No, this one's getting too, and no, there's a victim group inside of a victim group inside of a victim group. Whereas my hope is that those people who aren't into identity politics go, no, we're all together based not on where we were in the past, not what our skin color is, not what our genitals are, but because we believe that you have a chance for the American dream.
I think I agree with you, and one thing that I think is important to recognize, I saw Tulsi Gabbard's announcement interview with Van Jones, and she's 37 years old, born in 1981. That makes her among the oldest of the millennials. And she actually she specifically talked about the identity politics issue and said we need to be focusing more on what unites us, what brings us together. And I actually think that that is a message that resonates, even though Ocasio-Cortez and other millennial left-leaning folks really don't get entirely that identity politics is bad. They're not necessarily always appealing to that. Ocasio-Cortez, as an example, on social media, I think is embracing something much broader than that and more of a generational type of relationship as opposed to this group and that group, but she is representative of diversity within the millennial generation. It's something that we've grown up with, is a far more ethnic and racial diversity and other things.
So if I get asked to speak at Republican groups, and I go there, anybody your age is there to take the order. You're there to hang up the coat. You're not part of the party. You are the youngest person at any conservative thing you go to. You get a nod. Just about. All right. Why is that? And scratch your heads and go, how do we get young people to an event to talk to the geezers? What would bring you in?
Truth be told, word of mouth, relationships, that's really what gets me. So if someone who is a conservative, who is older than me, says, hey, I'd love for you to come join, maybe we can clarify your views on this point, or even for you to just experience what it's like to be around all of us. Tell us what we need to do to change things. That's going to bring a young person in. We want to transform. We want to have an impact.
All you're going to be doing is helping people get their walkers. It's a different world. I have this hope that people like you are connecting at a different level outside of the official party. Because I don't, and by the way, I'm not a Republican anymore, but I never see people inside the party meeting with young people. So is there a world of online? Is there a world of meetups that you wisely don't let old people in?
I very much agree with what Nishann said, particularly because when we're talking about young people, I mean, I started my Alex P. Keaton 21st Century journey when I was 13. Started going because of a family friend to a breakfast group and began that journey.
Someday you will kiss a girl. Just hold strong.
So when we're talking about the engagement factor, it really is the case of come with me, check this out. But the thing is, you have to make sure that you're not just talking down to the people in the audience when you're a speaker at these groups. And you can't just be unwilling necessarily to listen to what other people have to say. Having an openness and a willingness to listen to young people speak their minds and express their opinions, that is crucial. That's the thing that got me interested in politics more than anything else at a young age.
Now I remember why people hate millennials, is because you want attention without having earned the street cred. Whereas people in the older generations worked their way up to a point where people would listen to them. You just show up and go, hey, I'm young, listen to me, let me tell you how it is.
I don't think that's necessarily the case.
It is necessarily the case.
I like to work hard. I'm a first generation self-funded college student. I earned my way, and Sure, it's on my resume. And if someone buys into that, I mean, I got into the Larimer County GOP not because I stepped up and said, I'm going to do it. I was voted. I was put into place by my peers, by my equal individuals who saw my resume, who saw me as a person and respected that and said, please come on in. I think the biggest piece here is knowing that the individual is respected and listened to.
All right, so just a couple of minutes left, actually only about a minute left. How do you guys talk to your peers who are progressive whack jobs?
Stories. And communicating your compassion, your intent to help other people, to at least let the progressives, as they call themselves, know that you don't want to hurt other people, but you actually believe in helping to make their lives better. That's an important thing that keeps getting lost in our political discourse.
I think that's a great point. On this side?
I go back to principles, making sure that others understand that it's about them as an individual and their rights and how America allows them their freedoms to step into whatever it is that they want for their lives or in serving and taking care of others.
All right, most importantly, do you say mountain or do you say mountain?
Mountain.
I say mountain.
Mountain?
Yeah. That's how I
With
do
you
it.
people.
Mountain.
Is something important or is it important?
Important.
Important.
Oh my God.
What an exercise.
Do you go to Brighton or Brighton?
Brighton.
Brighton.
The country's lost. the country.
Wait until I say laundry.
Oh my God, go back to these. All right, people want to get involved in the Millennial Institute. Where do they go?
Check us out on Twitter right now, Mill Policy Center, CTR, on Twitter, and millennialpolicycenter.org.
And over here?
LarimerCountyGOP.org, and just call us up at the office, ask any questions, and find out how to get involved.
Yeah, you asked for it. Thank you so much. Read me in the Denver Post. Listen for me on KHOW Radio. Tell a friend about the Independence Institute. Go to thinkfreedom.org, and we'll see you next week.